All right, I'm Vinny with Last Mango Boatworks. This is a Boston Whaler 17 Montauk. The Montauk is the model, 17 is the size. Since I was young, I grew up in Annapolis, Maryland, and anybody who's ever been to Annapolis knows anything about Annapolis. There's a ton of whalers running around. Yes, my wife Sarah always liked the classic looks of the old whalers. So when it came time for us to purchase a family boat, we were trying to find something that was really had really good ease of use, meaning like you didn't have to feel like you had to spend 2 hours to wash it after you use it. Something you could pull up to a sandbar, shallow enough draft that you could run around without always worrying about, hitting anything and going in the backwater, calm areas, taking the kids to go shelling, playing football on the beach, going fishing, but also rode decent enough that you could go out, and cross a bay or, cross a sound in it on a nice day. So knowing that Sarah loved the classic looks of the old whalers, I love projects. I've done a bunch of rebuilds, a bunch of new builds, had a lot of resources to, from everything from painters to electricians, relationships with Yamaha and Garmin, that I was like, you know what, let's look for an old one. Let's rebuild it the way we want it. So my dad helped us find, my dad knew I was looking. My dad driving by a Walmart in Swansboro, North Carolina, sends me a picture. And he says, I think I found your boat. And it was an old whaler that needed to be, fixed up, needed some love, TLC, and needed to be restored. And that's the one we ended up buying right there out of a Walmart parking lot in Swansboro, North Carolina. And it was always freshwater used. It was used in Lake Norman in North Carolina. So it was a really good boat to restore. Got it down to Florida, became a side yard project at the side of our house. Literally stripped the boat down. We took everything off it, took the console off, took the leaning post off, pulled the old motor off, got the whole boat painted the topside Matterhorn white, the hull seafoam green. That's kind of our last mango color scheme. One thing we decided to go with foam decking throughout the boat. This way, when you pull up to the sandbar, fishing, throwing shells in the boat, collecting driftwood, all the things that the kids like to do. You throw it in here, you didn't have to worry about it, and it's also really nice on your feet. Like I said, we were looking for things that were really good, quick, ease of use. Kind of just rinse it off, quick soap, done. So we threw in the Last Mango logo on the bow. Inside the bow, a little hatch area, we got 2 anchors, one for bow, one for stern. Got a bunch of nets for the kids, dock lines, fenders. It's a big compartment. Yeti cooler, 65 quart seat, rod holders, like all the classic whalers had behind the backrest cushions, got rod holders. But on the one of the cool things that we did with the console is it patched all the holes in the console and relaid out everything. Didn't reuse any of the old holes. James over at Merritt's, like I said, I had so many good relationships with guys to help us. James over at Merritt's helped me do the whole console, patched all the holes. Daryl over at Prod Auto Body, not just an auto body shop, does a bunch of paint work. He painted the whole boat for us. And then, we set up a good Garmin package. We got a little Garmin screen, chirp transducer transit mounted, and then we got a Yamaha 90 on the back that we custom painted to have a little bit of a retro look, to just keep everything looking classic. All the old hardware was in good shape, bow light, rails, everything was in good shape. Polished them up, everything. We didn't have to replace any of the hardware. The cushions are obviously new. We redid all the cushions. All the teak is still original. We just had it, just re-cleared over it. Sometimes we take the bimini top on and off. We got these little cool quick disconnects to take them on and off. Sometimes, depending on what it is, if we're going to be sitting out in the sandbar and you want to get out of the sun, we leave it on. If we're just going to run around and go fishing, we take it off. Super easy, super quick to get on and off. The one other cool feature that we did at the back of the boat is we put on these little rear seats. There's 2 rear seats in the back. Quick clips, they sit right in. You can take them on and off if you want to, but with quick little clips, you just put them back in, clip them down, and now you added a little more seating to the boat on both sides. They're pretty comfortable. So the coolest part about the boat that I would say for like people who like to see rebuilds is how we stripped the whole thing down. We did a few neat things. Underneath the console, we added, out of black starboard, a little sleeve that the console sits on top of. So when all the water is draining into your boat or you're rinsing off your boat, historically, the way that whalers were, all that water would drain into the wire chase tunnel that runs down the center line of the boat. Now all the water does not go into that tunnel, so you don't get sand or rocks or whatever, pieces of shells all in the rigging wire tunnel, because we put that sleeve to keep it sheds water away, and we 5200'd it down, which is, you know, an adhesive glue to keep it completely watertight. And then we got a bilge pump in the back here, so when you collect the water in the back of the rigging tube, the bilge pump pumps it out. We plumbed everything through the transom. We don't have any hoses hanging over the transom. Even the wire run for the transducer, we ran a piece of PVC through the transom to run the wire chase. I'm super OCD with builds and rebuilds, and I like everything really clean. I kind of go over the top with a lot of things. As you can even see, we got pool noodles keeping our bimini top from touching metal to metal. I mean, that's the kind of like attention to detail that I like. It's just part of who I am, and I'm lucky enough that I kind of instill that in the crew. Everybody that works with Last Mango kind of gets the little taste of, you know, how to do things over the top, do things right. The last 10% is usually what everybody notices, right? So that's the way we do things. You know, we didn't drill any cup holders into the console. This way you don't have to worry about like plumbing it or draining the console. So we just did a suction cup off Amazon, suction cup cup holders. This way I didn't have to worry about, you know, anything draining into the console. The console, when we rewired everything, I had Nelson, who used to work over at Merritt's. He was a carpenter. He cut a bunch of pieces for me. JR, the electrician, actually the same electrician who helped build the last Mango, the Freeman Merritt. He did a bunch of wiring on it. He wired up this console with me, and we did everything super clean and nice. We mounted starboard inside the console, drilled a bunch of holes to the top sides of the starboards that you ran all the wires on top of, and then the holes were the purpose of running the zip ties through. So all the wires are really neat and clean. We got 2 batteries. We got an AGM glass mat battery for the engine, and then we have a lithium battery for the house. This way, if you're sitting at the sandbar and you got electronics on, stereo on, we got a Fusion JL stereo, you can run that lithium battery and it'll keep running, you know, for hours, and you don't have to worry about your engine start battery going dead on you to get home. I think the most impressive part, the most attention to detail that you can see in this boat is once you start taking a look inside this console, how we rigged everything. And that's kind of like part of like the bigger boat background, I guess, that I have in me on like rebuilds and new builds, is that there's everything from a JL Audio amp to battery charger. There's an isolator to be able to charge both batteries at once, battery isolator. So I mean, there's a lot of really, like I said, fine attention to detail, maybe a little bit over the top, but that's just the way that, you know, that's the way that I kind of like to do things, you know, have everything like real nice, real perfect. I like redundancy. I mean, we even put in like a new little switch panel. We got a switch for your nav lights. We got a little cabin, it says cabin lights because that was, but they're accent lights that are on the side of the console. We got one left over for an accessory in case I want to add a switch or something, maybe a bait well, maybe. And then we got a bilge pump switch. And then we got a Fusion stereo, JL Audio 2 JL Audio speakers on each side of the console, which is plenty for a little boat like this. Garmin radio, Garmin chart plotter, Garmin chirp transit mount transducer. Everything's wired through the tunnel, the old chase tunnels inside these old little whalers. And then we got a Yamaha 90 that we custom painted to make it look real retro. And the thing that I love about these old whalers is the way the way the backrest will flip back and forth. This way, you know, if you're hanging out at the sandbar and you're watching the kids behind you or something like that, or you're watching people swim behind you, you can flip the backrest. They said one of the things that I think that people get a kick out of is like how, you know, OCD and little details that we think about. And, you know, so when you put up your bimini top, there's a canvas strap, nylon strap. It's got a little metal clip on it. When we clip in, the clip, when it's windy, won't hit the paint. So I put these paracord pieces on the eyelets. This way the clip sits up here above the paint and it won't scratch up your paint. We had a Last Mango logo in the decking right there on the bow. I mean, like I said, I got real lucky with this boat that everything was, little boat wake here, that we were able to reuse everything. You know, all the stainless backrests. You know, I kind of like the old, I kind of like a little bit of like the patina and nostalgia in the boat, but you know, at the same time, we did all the modern touches. Like I said, we patched up all the holes. You know, James over at Merritt's helped me patch up all the holes in the console and relaid everything out the way we wanted it. And there's something about when you redo and rebuild something yourself from scratch and bringing something that's old back to life. It just feels good. I mean, I got to tell you, I don't think there's too many people that would disagree with me that getting behind the wheel of an old classic whaler, running on a calm day, there's something special about it. There really is. And you know, I'm real fortunate and happy that we have one of these. My kids get to, you know, have their like core memories of boating on this old little whaler that we restored, and they got to watch their dad restore in the side yard. You know, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for, you know, taking the time to watch the video. Thanks for being interested in the project. The goal is to inspire other people to do a project like this. I mean, bringing something old back to life, putting some shine on something old, turning it back to new is such a fun project. And if I can inspire you to do that, then I'm happy. I think it's a good lesson in life that most people don't really do anymore. I mean, people don't really rebuild, restore, and refinish things anymore. Everybody just buys something new and throws out the old stuff. So, like I said, you know, you can see in the photos and the videos that, you know, how we brought this thing back, and it was such a fun project. It took us about 3 months to do. Add all the modern touches that make it more reliable, a little add more redundancy, you know, for take the family out and feel safe, feel happy. You know, adding a radio, adding 2 batteries, you know, new 4-stroke motor, you know, new chart plotter. And we even got little like USB ports to charge your phone. I mean, we added a whole bunch of things to an old classic, but like I said, you know, it's just a cool old little boat. And I thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Check out Last Mango. If you guys like the video, we'll do more videos like this too.